Hello, and welcome to our webinar that will be focused on prices management in SAP system and our tool SNP Pricing for Profit. My name is Aleksandra Borucka, and I am the moderator of today's webinar. Our today's expert is Maciej Olechno. Today's presentation is divided in two main parts. I will provide you with a short overview of our company, give you some important facts of what we do, who we are, and how we can support you. Then Maciej will guide you through the main part about prices in SAP. Please feel free to ask questions. You can use question window you have in navigation panel on your right. I will send your questions to Maciej and you will get your answers via email. SNP is a transformation company that was founded back in 1994 in Heidelberg. Over the years, we have grown to a company with currently over 1,350 people, a company that supported over 10,000 different transformation projects. Geographically, we are located on all major continents, which means that we have our delivery centers in Europe, both Americas, in Asia. We have recently also opened our new subsidiary in Australia. This is a big advantage for us because we can directly serve our customers over several time zones. For example, today's webinar, we are running from Poland. As our president of the board says, transformation never ends, which means that companies change as their business environment changes. There are also IT-driven or technical causes that may lead to transformation needs. We are a company that understands this, and our core business is transformation of SAP-centric IT environments. We support our customers in their daily transformation that are part of their business life. Currently, we have a lot of transformation projects related to SAP S/4HANA migration, and we do it in our own way, so-called Bluefield way. SNP's Bluefield approach lets you merge, split, upgrade and harmonize systems in a single go-live project with automated data and business process testing. With Bluefield approach, you can simply automate your journey to SAP S/4HANA. We could speak long about Bluefield, but this is rather a topic for another webinar, as our focus today is pricing in SAP. If you would like to find out more about Bluefield, please contact us. SNP Poland is one of the biggest companies implementing IT systems in Poland. Since 2017, we are part of SNP Group and carry out projects all over the world. Our offer is focused on three main areas: SNP SAP experts. We offer a full range of SAP services, implementation, development, maintenance. We have here 25 years of experience and the biggest team of specialists. SNP data centers, we are experts in the maintenance and the development of IT environment. We provide outsourcing based on the double secure infrastructure of SNP data centers. And the third one, SNP Software Factory, which means tailor-made software, IT staffing, team leasing, Java and .NET applications. We create innovative applications that support any business process. That would be it when it comes to the short introduction of SNP. Now I would hand over to Maciej, and just give me a moment to switch.
Hi, this is Maciej Olechno speaking. I would like to talk about, in today's webinar, about our product, SNP Pricing for Profit, which lets our customers manage prices in SAP systems with ease. There is quite a number of problems when it comes to SAP standard in pricing. I would like first to focus on the problems in the standard SAP system, and then show you how our product can help you in this area and what our product can do for you. So, the standard problems with pricing in SAP are as follows. We don't really have a transparent addition and price presentation. We don't have a quick way to simulate the transaction price. Actually, we do, but it's only working for one customer for given items. If you want to simulate it in standard SAP system, you can always create an order, sales order, or a quotation, add the customer, add the materials we want to sell, and thus we can show the transaction price. But this only works for one customer, so it's not possible to do it for more than one customer. What is more, we don't really have a tool in SAP standard to track or log transaction price over time. We don't really have multi-level price changes schema, which is often a really important matter when it comes to audits. There is no cooperation with workflow, SAP workflow in the price changes process. And in our opinion, these two, so pricing and workflow, work really well together. We don't really have a tool to change prices massively when it comes to both transaction price, which is the term I will be using during this presentation to name the final price, which could include a lot of pricing conditions like prices, rebates, and so on. There could be, in extreme cases, hundreds of them in a single pricing procedure. And last but not least, we don't really have an intuitive report with pricing conditions and transaction prices, especially over time. So a lot of companies work day to day in standard SAP functionality, and I would like to have a quick look how users handle pricing in SAP standard at the moment. So usually, in order to have a look at a condition type, we need to go to VK12 and type in a condition type. In our case, this is ZPFP. There could be a lot of access sequences. In this case, there are 3: customer and article with release status, price list category, currency and article with release status, and article with release status. So we first need to type in the condition type, then choose the key combination. Then we need to give the system also the sales organization, distribution channel, depending on the fields from the key combination. And we are able to edit and preview a single condition for example, in this case, 3 articles with the amounts. And if we double click, we can also see for what validity periods given article and condition type is recorded. So we can edit and preview a single condition, be it price, discount, or anything else. We can edit and preview a selected date. We don't really have a max export functionality, and we don't have control of a price change. So this is how users usually work without our tool. So they usually go to VA01 and create a technical sales document for a given customer. So we need to give the sold to party, the articles, and then we can double click on the item and see what are both conditions are in a given pricing procedure and the transaction price, so the final price. And this is, of course, for a selected date. So why us and our product? So SNP Pricing for Profit is an SAP add-on prepared by SNP Poland that facilitates planning and management of prices in the SAP system, provides information and pricing conditions that constitute the final price of the product at a given moment, and the results are presented in a user-friendly ALV report, the standard report functionality of SAP. This is a helpful tool for any company that conducts an active pricing policy. It is designed for all businesses using SAP that are in need of a tool for detailed and full analysis regarding price changes. So the product was created by very experienced specialists. It bases on our experience acquired in a number of projects. Time and time again, we encountered this problem during rollouts, during SAP implementations, and well, we had so many questions about how could we enhance this area in SAP that our product was born. It is based on our own algorithm and confirmed by performance test. What is more, it cooperates with SAP workflow. It has extended price approval policy in accordance with the two-man rule, which is often a requirement from audit companies because in the standard SAP system, one user could go into pricing conditions, change the value, and we don't really have any second user to double check, which is the two-man rule. Of course, we can configure our workflow to include more than 2 people. We can build it according to our customers' needs. It can cooperate with external systems, so if we need to send it to web service or to an FTP server, we can also do it with SNP Pricing for Profit. We build it in a flexible way. There are a lot of enhancements that could be used to adapt to our customers' needs, because there are no two identical SAP systems, and thus the flexibility is a huge bonus. And we are able to get a use from an advanced reporting. So let's have a look at the overview of the product. For now, SNP Pricing for Profit is constituted by 2 modules. The first one is Price Manager, which serves mainly the purposes of periodic price changes. When we know what the pricing policy of the company is, we can massively change prices. You can simulate what kind of impact of changing a single pricing condition, a rebate, can have on a transactional price, the final product price before we do. And we of course have an advanced change log so that we know what was changed, when it was changed, and by whom was it changed. The second module, the Price Extractor, mainly serve the purpose of price policy planning with simulation of transaction price over the selected time period. So we are not sure what kind of prices are best for our company, can use this module to simulate and check how should we form prices in our system. And we can analyze price changes over time as well. So let's first focus on the Price Manager. There is one central cockpit for price management. It's clear, divided into steps. In step 1, we can choose data to create the so-called run or a scenario. There are synonyms. You can create a run or scenario. We select what data should we select from the system. and the further steps will be also covered in further presentation. And then we also see that there is a workflow step waiting for us in our inbox for a price approval. And this is an example of logs. When was it changed, by whom, and which run does it concern is concerned by this change. So that old value, new value, and the status of the run. So some of the features of the product, this is all in one. So we have one version of the Cockpit for creating price change scenarios, price management, and transaction price simulations. We can work with multiple scenarios for planning prices in many user-defined aspects and possible business cases. So we might work on a lot of scenarios at the same time. Not all of them must end in a price change in the system. We can simulate the transaction price and see the impact of changes in pricing condition records proposed by a user, the final transaction price, and of course according to a fully customizable pricing procedure and ALV grid. All the simulations and changes are safe. We don't have any risk of accidental changes in the system prices. They can only be changes after passing the price acceptance process by authorized persons. What is more, we have the option to accept prices via email and a log of price changes also via email. You can dynamically select the screen which allows for any data restriction for both price updates and simulation scope, which is important because access sequences can have also non-standard fields, and this tool also basing on the non-standard fields can limit by dynamic selection screens. This is a flexible solution. This can be personalized and adapted to the existing system configuration at the customer's end. So the file layouts, list forms are definable, and we do support custom solutions in pricing. We are able to freely configure stages of authorizations and every stage of the application operation. And this is technically speaking the level of authority objects and acceptance levels and approval in accordance with the two-man rule. So at least two people need to see the price change and authorize it in order for the change to really take place in the system. Of course, this is at least two people. We can freely configure it to be more if the need is there. The solution cooperates with SAP workflow, which is adapted to the business character. We have complete support for mass changes and acceptance of new price lists within user-specified data, and 3 language versions: English, German, Polish. So we might be wondering for whom is it foreseen. So the benefits were already covered. So the examples for whom could it be planned is, for example, planning department, analysis department, sales department, revenue, auditors and financial controllers, planning teams, of course SAP SD users, and financial managers. So this is a diagram of how we can accept prices and change them. So we actually start here. We export the data to an Excel file. This is of course a cycle, so the data once exported can be used more than once. this is actually the first step. So we export according to our selection data in the step 1 in the SNP Pricing for Profit cockpit. We export the data to an external file, and we are able to reuse it in a cycle. Then we upload the changed data in the Excel sheet to so-called planned prices. These are the prices that are already in the system, but which not yet replaced the real values of the pricing conditions in the system. So they're there, but not yet actively in the system. And we can upload them from external database, for example, Excel file. Then when the plant prices are in the system, can verify them and run a simulation and compare the old and new, both single pricing conditions and the final transaction price as well. Then we have the workflow approval, again compatible with the 2-man rule, and we have then the option to update the real system prices. Of course, if we have more than a lot of items in the Excel files, we don't have to upload all of them. We can reject some, we can accept some as needed. So this is maybe a more clear way to depict the process run. So we first export the pricing conditions, do our changes in Excel, and upload the updated pricing conditions. And this is actually possible in 2 ways. So the pricing for profit standard method for the cockpit, so we verify the status and update it if needed, or with the use of workflow, depending on how many levels are there. It could be in workflow initiation, first level approval, second level approval, and the prices are approved, and then updated in the SAP system. So this is an example how it works. In the step 1, we export for a selected data, sales organization, distribution channel, condition type, access sequence, what is the date for the price list, and so on. In step 2, we can specify additional selection conditions, including dynamic conditions, which is actually these are the fields from the access sequence, and under dynamic conditions we also have the non-standard fields, which could help us to further limit the data to be extracted in step 2. So in step 3 are the dynamic conditions, and in step 4 we create the so-called run or scenario, and we can create multiple price changes scenarios by using local Excel files. So we select the data, further limit it if possible in step 2, and even further limit it in the dynamic conditions if needed. Then we create the run, and we can attach a file if we have, if we, for example, need why are we changing the price. For example, we can attach the email. Okay, email from this day, this date can be attached here to be assigned to this run 236. And then when we have the data selected, we have the number for the run, we can then generate the Excel file. In step 4, we've prepared the data, and this is an exemplary Excel file. So we have the information we need from the SAP system, the old values for pricing conditions. We can type in the new values here. And of course the file layout is freely definable. We can mix and match as we please in the system. It doesn't have to look like this. So we can put new values. So we do all the necessary changes in the Excel file and then upload the prices to Excel file. It's worth noting that we support scales as well. So if we choose to change the prices, including the scales, can add how many scale lines are there, and the generated Excel file will have, for example, the same material twice for two scale ranges. And this mode is able to use the scale functionality to create new pricing conditions in order to facilitate mass and comprehensive price management in the Excel file. And then when the file is ready, when we've done all the necessary changes, we can upload data. It's the second sub-step of step 4. We can upload and re-upload, of course, the Excel files as many times as we want. Thus we can achieve the desired final price in the simulation mode, which is the next step. Simulation mode. Simulation mode determines how the proposal of price changes influence the transactional final price. The simulation mode is defined and adapted to customers' pricing configuration and customers' requirements. This is an example of a price simulation. We see the old amount of the pricing condition we change, what other pricing conditions accompany this changing pricing condition. This is, for example, in our case, R100. This is the change we've carried out. So the old amount in the system is 760, and the new amount uploaded from the Excel file is 400. We can also, of course, choose from the validity periods, and here we see the old transaction price and the new transaction price after changing the ZPFP value. Okay, just a second. Ola, can we hear that? Can you hear me, or Ola? Okay, never mind.
Maciej, yes, we can hear you. There was a strange noise in the background, but you can continue. It is okay. We can understand what you are saying.
The situation is as it is, and sorry for that. Okay, moving on to the approval level. Hopefully it doesn't repeat. Then at step 4 or 5, we can move to accept. And move to approval level automatically begins a workflow. There are two ways of approval: with workflow and with certain central cockpit. So there are two ways of accepting a price, as I mentioned. So we prepare the data on selection screen, process the Excel file. We can simulate, we don't have to if we are sure that the desired outcome is correct. And then we move to approval. And approval can be carried out with simulation, price confirmation, and scenario rejecting. And the same can be carried about by Cockpit. And then we finish the scenario. This is approval with workflow. We have multi-level approval in accordance to customers' needs. And this is the SAP workflow standard functionality. And we are able to inform users about the price change proposals. and price approval and preview is directly carried out by means of workplace level. So we log in, we can see that we have a inbox message in our business workplace, and we see that this is, for example, a price approval. And this is the approval panel. So the second way of approving the prices via the SNP Pricing for Profit Cockpit. There is a common user interface for approval workflow and standard application. We, of course, can take advantage of the standard SAP form of presentation, which is ALV, which gives us the options to export to a file and so on. We can single or collectively reject or approve prices, or we can select which ones we want to confirm and which ones we want to reject. We can, from this level, of course, run the price simulations as well and print it if needed. And we have the price presentation with values before and after change with the proposed date. Pricing condition update. We can update the price from workflow level as a separate step or from SNP Pricing for Profit panel level. Of course, all steps can be restricted with a separate authorization. There is a complete transparency. We are not able to incidentally update the real system prices, and it could be also configured to run as a batch job if needed. What is more, after we've carried out all the changes, so we selected the data, we extracted them to an Excel file, we did the changes in the Excel file, and changed the prices, the real system prices. We also have the functionality to update prices in open sales orders. So the system automatically knows after the run which sales documents were affected by a change and presents them here after the run. So in this case, there were 3 sales orders. And now we can check which ones we want to update. So for example, we have a deal with the customer that, okay, we'll sell you this product before the new price policy, so we'll leave it, but the 2 new ones from April will have new prices. So we just update the sales documents from April and we leave the one from March. And after we do, we have a transparent ALV results here. So as I mentioned, every activity is logged for a given run/scenario. So we can update open sales order with scenario and scenario selection data. The log is based on the standard SAP battle log functionality. We have information about the correctness or possible errors of each step of the process. We can analyze users' activities at every stage of the process and have details. So for example, here we have the prices for a run. We see that they've been finally confirmed by a given user and which items have been updated, the old value, new value, and that the run has been finished. So the second module is the price extractor. This is a brief visualization how prices are structured in SAP. So the axis at the top of this is the timeline divided into separate quarters, and we have a simple pricing procedure with a basic price, customer rebate, and a discount. And on different accesses. So, for example, the basic price for customer material is €5. And there is a customer rebate for 3% and a discount. And if we take all of this together into consideration, there is a final price. And of course, it could be for a selected period. So for example, for 2.5 quarters in this example. So pricing conditions extractor, this is a useful tool when we want to give a given customer their own individual price list. And this works as scenarios as well. It has pricing procedure for calculating the transaction price, and we can choose file format, and we have the selection screen with these 3. Then we get the results again as an ALV layout. So we see what conditions times, what article, what customer, and so on. We can filter and mix and match as we want. What is more, we can move from the report to the level of the details of the conditions and material. So this is the master data for the article, and this is the price. And both of these are accessible from our SNP Pricing for Profits pricing conditions report. And this is the further visualization, how it works. So the system goes from top to the bottom and simulates which prices are in the given access sequence. And we see an example determined transaction prices for given quarters, 470, 480. And this is more or less how our algorithm works when it comes to calculating the final price. And on the basis of this report, we can build a graphical representation, so-called transaction price cascade. So have the base price, the price of the discount, and the transaction price, and we can observe how the relation is being built between the various components of the price and how the various discounts influence the transaction price over time. And this is the selection screen for the transaction price extractor. We can select pricing conditions, procedure for calculating the transaction price and file format, and selection screen. We can include discounts, tax, can write to file, can convert units, and the result is ALV grade, articles, prices, net prices, and so on. So what are the benefits? We can archive results in a database, so ready-made customer and material prices. We can share the transaction price and its component via a web service. We can extract the pricing conditions to external system if we need, and we have full control over the price changes over time. And we also control how rebates and extra charges, for example, values impact the transactional price. So what is more, since the last update, we've added some new features. This includes the function of closing and shortening periods. So for example, we have a price list for May. Let's say we have a price policy change for May, but we know that in April the prices of some components we used to product the final product, to manufacture the final product, are changing. So we need to actually carry out a price change in the system earlier than expected. Then we can shorten the period. So instead of carrying out a change in May, we may do it also halfway through April, for example, or just close the prices as well. So this, technically speaking, just deletes a given pricing condition from the system. What's more, second feature, we have new extensions. We build additional rules when entering prices. So anything that is being done on the Excel file can be also programmed. So for example, this is one business requirement we've received. So any price that is over 100,000 euros are automatically forwarded to the CFO to authorize them, but anything else under it goes to the sales manager. So the workflow or the acceptance levels are split into, thanks to this feature. Or another example is if your company has a pricing policy, for example, that prices rise should be raised, for example, 2% for a whole price list. We can build a checkbox in the Excel file, and we can just check it to raise all prices within an Excel file, so within a price list by an X%, let's say it's 2 every month. So just click it. We don't need to go through all the prices and change them manually with a calculator. We can just do it by checking a single checkbox. What's more, log report. We already had quite advanced log report, so all data on price changes were approved, rejected, and so on, by whom and when. And now they can also be sent automatically, like to I don't know, a superior of the people who deal with price changes, monthly, weekly, as needed, as an email or to a inbox workflow as well. And what's more, we have the functionality, the option to use company's own Excel templates. Oh, you don't need to rely on our built Excel templates in the product, but you can use your own. And that's it for today. Thank you, and hope you have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
And feel free to register for another webinars, and see you then. Bye-bye.